What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles, welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Favorite Files. Yes, I've been away for a while. Real life gets in the way sometimes. Sorry, but I'm back. Hopefully bigger, better than ever. And today I wanted to look at my list of overdue Marvel Legend heroes. A few weeks back, I did my top 10 overdue Marvel Legend villains, and I decided it was time to finally go to the heroes. But of course, there's so many heroes that still need to be done in this line. And I am perplexed and amazed that there's so many of you all out there who are, I just need 5 more characters to be done and I'll be totally out with Marvel Legends. I'm thinking there's still 40, 50, 70 characters I legit want from Hasbro in this Marvel Legends line before I'll be done. I'm sure I could probably come up with another 30 after that. So anyway, I started on my top 10 list and realized 10 just wasn't enough. 15 probably isn't enough, but I decided to cap it there. I easily could have done a top 20, but I decided let's hold off a bit. Let's do a top 15. Now, Rectangular revealed a bunch of figures that are coming out next year, and some of those characters were definitely on this original list that I wrote up. Top among them, Monica Rambeau, aka Captain Marvel 2. Cersei was also on that list due to her appearance in the Eternals and her roster spot on the Avengers. So I at least got a few of those off the list, but there's still, like I said, plenty to go. So let's take a look at my top 15 in no real particular order. So that doesn't mean the first one is definitely number 15. It's just the easy way for me to keep track of everybody. Let's take a look at the list right now. So coming in first is Gorgon. Hasbro has this kind of tricky situation where they start a team and it's like, cool, there's only 3 or 4 more members left. You can knock this team out really quick and finish them. But then it takes years to get more team members. And the Inhumans are a really frustrating one because they've had TV presence. And I know that show wasn't great, but they've been prominent members of the Marvel Universe for so long. Dating back to the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby era of Fantastic Four. And honestly, any core characters from that run should automatically get a go-to figure form pass right away. So Gorgon's the first one that I want to include in the Inhumans. He's a big tank-like character. The crew's got those hooves for feet. He's got a really interesting head sculpt that I think would work really well in figure form. He would make for a really good Build-A-Figure if we're not trying to go with super massive scaling for the Build-A-Figures. He's somebody that gets to stand being just a little bit taller, wider, making use of those hooves without going too crazy. And again, for the most part, I'm sticking to the classics. So Jack Kirby drew him. I want him the way Jack Kirby drew him. I don't want the modern take where he's more centaur than how Jack Kirby did him. So classic Kirby, wide nose, mask that kind of looks like eyes, and just the whole works. Classic all the way. To go along with the classic Black Bolt and classic Medusa. Let's get Gorgon so then I can start knocking off a few more of those Inhumans later on. But to start off, let's get with Gorgon. So number 14 on this list is a character that again follows that same trend where you guys have started a team. Let's keep going. Let's get some more members in the squad. And when the Thunderbolts debuted, it was so cool. This was before the internet would spoil everything, or before the comic book companies would spoil big developments. I can only imagine if Thunderbolts came out right now. Months before the issue hit the stands, we would know the identity of the Thunderbolts. But back in the 90s, it was a secret till we opened it and was like, oh wow, this is crazy. So with the Thunderbolts, they were the Masters of Evil. Baron Zemo was getting his ultimate revenge on Captain America and crew, and all of his, well, not all of them, because he had like a whole legion of Masters of Evil, but he had a good squad with him in the MOE. And he took a few of them and decided, I'm going to make heroes of them. And they're going to fill the gap left by the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, who've mysteriously vanished due to that conflict with Onslaught. And so the the Masters of Evil started kind of liking being heroes. And then it got prompted even further when they met this young teenage girl who would become Jolt. And Jolt kind of became this catalyst for the team, going even further into wanting to be heroic, to be the good guys, and not just playing them on TV. So Jolt's a really cool character. She has a great costume. She's representative of a community we don't see a whole lot in figure form. And so it'd be great to get her in that for just her look, demographic, and because of what she represents to the Thunderbolts. And she's a smaller buck. Maybe they could use that silk body for her and just give her a youthful head sculpt. I think it's right there for Hasbro to do. We get another member of the team, and then we just need Meteorite, Techno 1, Atlas, and now we've got our Thunderbolts, Generation 1. So I would love to see Jolt in this crew. I mean, we got the Thunderbolts, why not get the Jolt to go with it? So let's get her in there, and not the blue kind of wild powered up all the way phase look, just a standard walking around hanging out Jolt. So that's another member. So number 13, I feel like the Thor corner of the universe has pretty decent figure representation. Like, we've got a lot of characters, even throwing in Angela, Thor and Loki's sister, but there's some core old school members, some iconic members of this team that have still been neglected. And to start off, I'm going to go with Baldur the Brave. We've got Lady Sif, we've got Thor. I guess the third member of that top tier of Asgardian warrior heroes is Baldur the Brave. And he's Thor's best friend. He's run Asgard and Odin. In Thor's absence, he's done a lot of stuff. He's got cool outfits. I mean, just take anything that Walt Simonson did for him and just use that for figure form. You can't really go wrong. He's a cool looking character. For some reason, he hasn't shown up in the movies, and I think maybe that's kind of delayed his ascension to figure form, if you will. But he is so overdue. He really needs a figure, and I think they could do a really good job with him. Plus, then it opens the door for the Warriors 3, so we can really finish the main characters from Asgard. So Baldur the Brave would be my number 13 choice. Number 12, I don't know if he's that controversial. I was looking at like people's comments on the character, and I was like, what the heck are y'all talking about? But number 12 is Triathlon. Triathlon was a character that George Perez and Kurt Busiek introduced during their run of Avengers. It's one of the all-time great comic book runs I've ever read. If you haven't, they're omnibuses. Highly recommend checking those out. But anyway, so Triathlon's deal was he's an Olympian, got caught doping. This is pretty timely in the 90s because that was all the rage with the track and field superstars. Oh no, they were using steroids. So it's kind of timely. He joined this Tribune Understanding, and they were crooked. He didn't know that, but he was their superhero representation to the world, pitchman, and he kept running afoul of the Avengers. He didn't really trust them, didn't like them, thought they were coming after the Tribune Understanding and their leader just because they were anti-Tribune, anti-religion. So eventually, Triathlon was forced onto the team, kind of like hey, we need more representation. And clearly, the Avengers didn't have a lot of black members anyway, so every time, outside of probably Monica Rambeau and Black Panther, it felt like, hey, we're pushing the token onto him. But I like Triathlon's character. I liked his costume, and I thought he represented a different kind of personality. Warbird kind of took him under her wing and was like, listen, dude, you're trying so hard to prove yourself. Just be cool. You'll fit in with us. Just stop trying so hard. And eventually did, and gets super powered up to become the 3D man later on. There's a possibility we could see Triathlon in the MCU with the Avenger Dynasty storyline, because he plays a major role in that in the comic. So I'd love to see Triathlon just because he represents that favorite era of mine for the Avengers, the Busiek Perez era, and I'd love to see him side by side Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, etc., Goliath, Warbird, the whole team. So love to see him. I think with his color scheme, he would definitely stand out in any Avengers shelf. And I already mentioned the Thunderbolts. I got to dip back into them again for number 11. This time it's Meteorite. Carla Sofer was a very savvy member of the Masters of Evil, a very savvy member of the Thunderbolts. She kept trying to manipulate Baron Zemo because she was a psychologist, so she understood the inner workings of people's thoughts. So she kind of forced Jolt onto the team, convinced Zemo that yes, we should have this young kid here, while she was kind of widening this gap between Zemo's control over the rest of the Thunderbolts. And then eventually, when they all turned face, Hawkeye joined the team because Hawkeye is all about helping people recover from their dangerous criminal past as part of his character now. And so he joins up as their new leader. Eventually, he and Meteorite hook up. And that dynamic was kind of similar to what we see later with Cyclops and Emma Frost. But this was where it played out first. And Meteorite has a really cool outfit, really cool costume. And that helmet just really makes her look distinct. And I think she would make for a fantastic figure. They go off with the pearlescent colors with the gold and then the ribbed areas of her costume. She would make for a really fun figure. And now that we've got double jointed elbows, bicep articulation, it would be the perfect time to get her into the line. So Meteorite is another member of the Thunderbolts that I'm putting onto this list just to help get the team closer to completion, because we still need Atlas, we still need Techno 1, but we're close if we get Meteorite and we get Jolt within the next year or so. Alright, so now we are shockingly already into the top 10 and the official start of this list. So I'm always going to lean towards adding more members to teams, especially ones who've never had Marvel Legends figures, and that includes from Toy Biz. Alpha Flight has always been a cool looking team to me. Like looking at those covers, like this team just looks cool. And one of my favorite characters from just the visual standpoint is Box. He's just massive, big, brawny, kind of looks like a giant mech, kind of working around with this team of superheroes. And I like the idea that they have this character who's an amputee running around in Box. I think that's a really unique part to him. Roger Box is the pilot, the operator, if you will, of Box. And I would love if Hasbro, he's another guy that they could make into a Build-A-Figure. If they incorporated an element where you could open up the chest compartment and have Roger Box sitting in there to actually control and pilot Box, I think that would be so cool. But really nice outfit. You can go red, you can go blue with him. I don't care. But he would make for a great Build-A-Figure. And then, with typical Hasbro fashion now, they could put him into a box set. Maybe they put him in with Aurora or Madison Jeffries. And we've got a 3-pack with 2 new characters, sort of, with a different color, different outfit for Aurora. And Madison Jeffries in Box with his repainted colors. So, love to see him give Alpha Flight another big heavy hitter on that team. Maybe then they could repaint Sasquatch into white, so it's a snowbird version. Lots of opportunities, lots of ways to do Alpha Flight that we still haven't gotten from Hasbro yet. So Box would definitely be a big one to add to that team, that roster. Number 9, I've mentioned this already, and I am clamoring big time. I'm just going to cheat because number 9 and number 8 are from the same team, the same squad, and they're essential characters for this team that's so close to being completed. It's the Guardians of the Galaxy, Phyla-Vell, and Mantis. Phyla-Vell was rocking the Quasar bands at this point when the DNA run of Guardians of the Galaxy started. She has one of the best costume designs in the last 30 years. It's such a cool look with the hood up, the hood down, her hair, the starburst in her eye, the gigantic sword she conjures up. She looks so cool. And she's really overdue for a figure. I mean, the Guardians were really huge. They were on the verge of eclipsing the X-Men and the Avengers in terms of popularity to those readers of the cosmic realm of Marvel. And just as it started to get super popular and the news of the movie were coming, Brian Michael Bendis said, "I'll take over," and proceeded to ruin everything that made the Guardians special. But Phyla-Vell, awesome character, awesome look. She needs a figure. Mantis, during the DNA run, escaped kind of being a stereotype caricature It was a lot more interesting with the DNA Guardians, green skin tone. She's got her cool skirt, and she was a real major catalyst for what Star-Lord was doing with the team. So both of them are essential. That's my number 9, my number 8, no particular order, Phyla-Vell and Mantis. To add 2 more members to the Guardians of the Galaxy. And then we're really getting close because we just need Moondragon, Jack Flag. We're almost there. And I just feel like getting closer to completing teams is the biggest thing on any overdue Marvel Legends list. So that's 9 and 8. Number 7, another member who works both ways. You can go with as an Avenger enemy or as an Avenger. It's Swordsman. I know he's got a little burn now because he was on Hawkeye, but that really wasn't Swordsman. I mean, the dude didn't have his purple outfit and rock swords that much, but Swordsman was cool in the comic book. He was Hawkeye's mentor. Again, his gimmick, very much like his protege, Hawkeye, was swords. And he had all kinds of different power abilities through those swords, master duelist. And he was a great, savvy villain. Then when he became a hero, he started doubting himself. Am I good enough? Can I hang with this team, with Thor, with Vision, Iron Man? I'm trying to impress Mantis, and she's not giving me the time of day. What's going on? Eventually, he sacrificed himself. He was a really interesting character during a really fun run of the Avengers. And I think having a character who you don't have to change his look to go with both the villain and the heroic side, that's a big win. So I'd love to see him added to the line because he can be a villain and a hero. And that kind of dual nature for any figure is really worth it. Especially since we still need more Avengers villains. So that's number 7 with Swordsman. Number 6, I'm going to go back to the Inhumans because they still need way more team members. And I'm going with a character who, depending on how she's done, can work on multiple levels. I'm talking about Crystal. Crystal has been really important for so many teams throughout her history in the Marvel Universe. Of course, she's a member of the Inhuman royal family. So her sister is Medusa, and she rocks hard with the rest of the crew: Gorgon, Black Bolt, Triton, Karnak, Lockjaw, you name it. Key figure during the Jack Kirby Stan Lee run of Fantastic Four. But she also stepped in occasionally for Sue Storm as the alternate member of the Fantastic Four. So it would be kind of neat, kind of fun if Hasbro, of course, made this separate head sculpt. So we could just swap out some of these clearance Sue Storm figures, put a Crystal head on him, and bam, we've got our alternate Crystal joining the Fantastic Four. But she was also a member of the Avengers. And it's a little bit trickier because during that stint of the Avengers, it was everyone wears leather jackets. I assume when we get this Cersei, she's going to be rocking a leather jacket since she's going to be in a 2-pack with Black Knight. But I'd love to kind of see her right before she gets that. Or maybe we do something like we've seen with some other companies where they have a jacket that they could take off. And, you know, like with a more McTaggart figure where she could take off the leather jacket and the sleeves from that and just have her default Inhumans look. Maybe that would work. Because she's really important, and there's too many different versions of Crystal to have to wait so long for the first one. Then we have to wait longer for her Avengers style look. So I'd like to get Crystal in her Inhumans outfit first, and hopefully not too much longer we can get her in her Avengers team up look. Maybe put her in a 2-pack with Hercules, with his tank top, his boots, clean shaven look. It's totally anti-Hercules from what we've seen before in the comic book, but I love to see that. And with Black Knight and Cersei getting their own 2-pack, maybe that's the way to get Crystal in her Avengers gear. So anyway, she's number 6 on this list. Definitely need to get her done soon. Number 5, shockingly, another team member that heads on and completes a team. Actually, I'm going to go with 5 and 4 because, again, it's another 2 and 2 set deal. Namorita and Marvel Boy / Justice. New Warriors were a great comic book that came out right at the same time as Thunderbolts, and it felt like, oh man, we're getting 2 great comic books, 2 great new teams that are going to go on to have that same success as the X-Men, as X-Factor, X-Force, etc. And for a really long time / 3 years, those books really delivered, and it felt like man, this is cool. We're seeing the formation, the start of these teams, and they're just going to go on to have these great legacies. New Warriors didn't, and Thunderbolts is kind of all over the place now. But anyway, New Warriors was a great book when it started, and two of the core members was Namorita, Namor's sister or cousin, confusing on that family relation at this point, and Justice / Marvel Boy. Marvel Boy was Vance Astrovic, so we see him later on down the road with the Guardians of the Galaxy, both versions, and this is his original teen look, and he was a telekinetic, and he was really powerful. He had messed his father up, had to go to prison, and afterwards he decided, I'm going to be Justice. Like Firestar, Marvel Boy Justice joins the Avengers, so he has his own dedicated look where he joins them. I love, of course, to get his New Warriors look first. I would love if Hasbro would design him where we got the full cowl look and a swappable, removable head where it's the half mask. We see his hair come in, see more of his face. That would be the ideal way to go for this character, this figure treatment. Both of these guys are really important. Guys and gal are important to the New Warriors. And with them, we complete the original founding 5 of the team. Now we got Rage, got Darkhawk. We still need Silhouette, but we're almost close to completion on the New Warriors if we get Namorita and Marvel Boy / Justice. So come on, Hasbro. Let's get those knocked out next year. All right, so number 3. Speaking of teams that will be completed with very few members, I'm going to go Rachel Summers, Phoenix 2, the Hound, if you will. She's the last member that we need to complete the original Excalibur. And in the main Excalibur images, she's front and center, so we need her. Rachel's a cool looking character. That Hound costume is such a unique look. And then we can do the John Romita Jr. style where her face is all like, and she's got the marks on her face as well. She's a core character. She's been around in the MCU for a long time. A very key X-Men during this time period. So I would love to see her in that full Hound outfit. Then we can have her face off with Selene in the Hellfire Club too. That kind of makes me want, hey, let's get that Uncanny X-Men, the punk stage era of the squad. We already got Storm, we got Nightcrawler, we got Wolverine. We just need Rogue. We just need Colossus in his red and white attire. That way we have that era of the team. But Rachel is really necessary because she completes a squad. She adds another member to that X-Men during the 80s team. And she's just been around for too long not to have gotten a new Marvel Legends figure. So it's time. Let's get her done, do it right. And I think she would make for a really awesome looking figure. Home stretch now, number 2. So many times, whether it's Toy Biz or Hasbro, they've dipped into X Factor. And we've seen Cyclops traditionally in his blue and white attire. And that is one of Cyclops' coolest looks. That really nice shade of blue contrasting really strongly with that big prominent white X across his chest, going down to his legs, the boots, the gloves, the whole deal. It's a striking look for him. Now you can kind of get that whole X Factor team done with Archangel, with Beast in his blue and hairy form, and Iceman, iced up, assuming Hasbro would ever give us a good Iceman figure. But there's one figure that constantly has been left out in the cold in this, whether it's with Toy Biz or with Hasbro, and that's Jean Grey in her X Factor red and yellow outfit. Now we've done Goblin Queen. She's maybe not coming, but she's talked about, discussed. But Jean Grey's red and yellow outfit is really cool. It kind of harkens back, teases, if you will, the Dark Phoenix color scheme, but shows that now she's in control, so she can rock this without being influenced. She knows who she is. She's not questioning her identity anymore. And it's just such a cool look. So we really could get her, knock her out, finish up a team, if you will, because I'd still love to see a depowered Bobby with the blue and white and the Hank Beast version where he's in that brown and yellow attire, so we can get them in all their matching X's attire for X Factor. not the original take, but the second version of their costumes, because they were really cool. Jean Grey in her red and yellow would look really amazing, and I'd love to see that one. So finally get her in that costume would be awesome. So hopefully we can get that. And finally, my number one figure, again, no particular order of this, but a really key figure, and one that's really been necessary, really been missing. It's Angel. Hasbro did a box set of the original 5 X-Men. Angel looked terrible. I mean, he had a dorpy look on his face, and he just looked awful. But it's time now to get the classic Angel, where he was teaming up with the X-Men, helping them out on the moon during the Dark Phoenix battle against the Imperial Guard. That was so cool. I mean, seeing the classic original X-Men on the team, helping him out with Beast, with Cyclops, with Jean, Phoenix, and the new squad of X-Men. But I always loved that red, the white, little halo in the middle, head sculpt. The Toy Biz version was really solid. Those wings were major heavy though. And I'd love to see Hasbro just take some tips that they've used over the years to make a better version of Angel. Give him a great, handsome head sculpt where he's smiling, no care in the world, because he's not upset at anything until he gets his wings taken from the Marauders. And Cameron Hodge, I guess, and the right. But Angel would make for a really cool figure, and I'd love to see him front and center on the old school classic X-Men. We've got Havoc now. We don't really have Polaris, but we have Iceman. So I'd like to get that original take of X-Men before they transition into the new squad with Wolverine, Storm, Banshee, Colossus, etc. I'd love to see him. And you can also make him one of your team members on the Defenders. And I think his costume's a little bit changed on the Champions, but at least the Defenders look will have that red and white. And again, he's another ideal candidate for a deluxe packaging, because that way you could go with the blue and white repaint. Don't really have to change anything. Just give him a deluxe and put him into a different packaging. And there you go. So that is my top 15 overdue Marvel Legends heroes. Breaking it down again: Gorgon, Jolt, Balder the Brave, Triathlon, Meteorite, Box, Phyla-Vell, Mantis, Swordsman, Crystal, Namorita, Marvel Boy / Justice, Rachel Summers, Jean Grey in her X Factor attire, and the one and only Angel. Of course, I could probably do another top 15 really easily using none of these characters. But let me know what you guys think. Would you want to see any of these characters? Who are your favorite top 15 that are long overdue on your checklist of Marvel Legends characters, so you can be like, ha, now I'm 5% done with getting my Marvel Legends complete and I won't need any more figures. So let me know. And as always, thank you so much for watching. This episode of Lost Figure Files has been filed.